We look like dads at a wedding. This is sort of just bopping along, aren't we? How you doing? Are you feeling better?
That's very kind of you to ask.
Your health is of major concern
Is it,
to all
though?
of the listener.
Is that why you dragged me out here in the cold and the wet?
Welcome to my humble abode. So, yeah, you feeling any better?
I'm feeling okay.
Good.
You all right?
You always play it down, though. You
I do.
really do.
I don't like to make a fuss.
Do you remember that time when you were yellow?
Yes.
And you were like, no, I'm just...
I had jaundice.
Yeah, I know, and you were just like, I really like The Simpsons. What of it?
Yeah.
Now, tell
I'm
you
like
what.
your good self.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the centre of attention.
I really do. I've got a little tip for you, Adam. If the kids are playing up this Christmas,
Yes.
tell them you've got them a puppy, but have a box filled with roadkill, and if they're being naughty, just angrily stamp on the box.
I don't have kids.
The mysterious player of mystery.
Oh, we're going straight in. None of those niceties. I love that bit as
That's how
well.
you were. What more do you want?
Oh, so you want a mysterious player?
Normally my wife, when I've seen you, will be like, how's Adam? And I realised I'd never ask you.
You never care. Your wife cares. She's nice.
She is nice, yeah.
She's being punished for something.
So, Mysterious Player of Mist, you've never heard this before. Adam is going to give me the clubs of a well-known, hopefully, football player. Last week it was my turn to give you the clubs.
Yes.
We're taking it in turns, and we're keeping a little tally. At the moment, it is 1-1.
Juan.
So if I
as
get
they
it
say in Spain.
at the end of the podcast, without any clues, it's 3 points. If I need the position of the player and then I get it, it's 1 point.
Let me grab my bit of paper.
Yeah, you didn't need to say that. It was quite evident from
It
the
was.
noise.
That was quite loud, wasn't
It's
it?
like the archers in here.
Do they have a lot of paper?
No, but they always make sound effects, don't they?
Do they?
You never listen to the archers?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not in my 70s.
if a horse was to walk in, that'd be...
I see. I mean, if a horse was to walk in, I'd have bigger worries. Personally, but yeah.
You're suddenly not the biggest boy in the playground.
So, the mysterious player of mystery. We will start this player's career in the beautiful city of Montpellier. Paris Saint-Germain followed, and then Newcastle United. There was a loan spell at Portsmouth before a move to Portuguese football and Benfica, staying on the Iberian Peninsula but across the border with Levante, back to our own fair shores and Derby County, the MLS and Toronto FC, before ending their career in Greek football with Larissa.
He's got the look on his face.
Well, I like to think that this one might have been trickier because French players and Newcastle, it's quite a few.
Adam, a little bit of a quick fire round now for you about Hounslow.
Yeah.
It's well known that you're wealthy. You own Hounslow, or
Right.
at least some of it.
You
You've
say
got
it's
the
well known.
keys to the town.
Yeah.
So, I've got another Hounslow
They've
quiz.
had the locks changed, so that was... So thanks for that.
Hounslow is famous for three things, but which of these is the odd one out?
Right.
Is it A, rice pudding, B, video piracy,
Uh-huh.
C, being full of scruffy dogs, or D, all of the above?
Video piracy, rife. You cannot sail your video barge anywhere near without being boarded by video pirates.
You wouldn't steal a car.
Glad that campaign left its mark on you. And I don't remember what the first one was.
Rice pudding.
Rice pudding, I mean, is a thing. I remember rice pudding, actually, with my school dinners, and it was vile, and I hated it. Therefore, it is not famous for rice pudding. It is infamous. So therefore, that is your odd one out.
Yeah, that'll do. Hounslow is Anglo-Saxon for Hounds Hill. But how many scruffy dogs have left dirty doggy deposits inside of William Hill bookies on Hounslow High Street? I'll give you an ABC. Is it A, 41, B, 104, or C, they stopped counting and now the floor is a hardened mound of canine crap?
C.
Correct. Final question, Adam, because I know you're enjoying this, but please try not to be so self-indulgent in the future. We do have other items to get to, okay?
Sorry.
True or false? Hounslow's official crest is a picture of Bernard Matthews' turkey drumstick on top of Hugh Grant in a bus station filled with scruffy dogs.
That's true.
It is. Congratulations,
Of course it
Adam.
is.
Once again, 3 out of 3. You really know your Hounslow. I want to say a shout out to a listener, Adrian. He got into a fight after a football match. This is not something we're fond of. We abhor violence. I think when I tell you the reason he got into the fight,
Yeah.
you will back him to the hilt. This was with a Leeds United fan.
By a Leeds United fan, I'm
You're in.
backing him to the hilt.
This Leeds United fan was yelling curses in Adrian's face.
Oh, I don't like curses.
And this Leeds United fan, Adrian, corrected his grammar. This is the only thing I've ever heard that is worth fighting for at a football match. Adrian, from your hospital bed, we salute you. He's actually a Sheffield United fan, is Adrian, and the fourth official on Saturday at Reading against Sheffield United, Adam, was, this is absolutely true, Mr. T. Kettle.
Right.
You should see him at boiling point.
Oh, dear.
I'm better than that.
No, you're not.
Scouting Stevie's back.
Oh, God.
And he's put together a new song.
In the back of his creepy van.
Just leave the van. Are you welcoming him
What's
in?
he got now? A creepy barge?
There might not be anything creepy. Why don't you listen?
Oh, it's going to be creepy.
There's nothing creepy.
And there's going to be a weird accent.
You happen to welcome Stevie? What's the script say?
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Adam says yes. Sans enthusiasm. Me cat's done a crap on the back of the mat. I slipped in some sick and fell on me back. The MOT for the van is due. I want a tattoo in the shape of a shrew. I once saw a goat who spat on me coat. I once bought a skip to use as a boat. I think there's a ghost reading my post. I always get chills when eating my toast. The bloke next door, he's got asthma, works in Asda. He's called Jasper, he smells bad, a bit like feta. I do like cheese, but I like brie better. He's my best pal, he's my best mate. He comes round when it gets late. A retailer with an inhaler. Jasper, 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 Jasper. I've been so lonely, Jasper, since the wife left me. She took my ski electrics, me pancake holder for crispy duck and that. The crispy duck doesn't go in the holder, it's like a bamboo steamer for the pancake component of the ensemble. You already know that, Jasper, well travelled in that. She's moved in with that lass from Morrison's, Karen the soup, 'cause she likes soup, only own brand, mind. Now whenever I eat soup I'm sick and crying, and that all goes into the soup, so I can't tell what's sick and what's soup bits for the cat, you know. Jasper, 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 Jasper. Will you be my best friend? Will you please say yes? Say yes, Jasper. I'm so alone. Jasper, 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 you bastard.
It's like the musical equivalent of fingernails going down a chalkboard.
Still the best review you've given to any of the musical ensembles so far. Can I bring to your attention the most interesting Wikipedia of a player that I've found so far?
Well, please do.
It's the goalkeeper, Tony Meola.
Oh, yes, X of QPR?
No.
X of the USA?
Yes.
That was the three-letter acronym I was searching for. Yeah, that's
that
the one.
He's from Bellevue, New Jersey. He's 49. He's going to be 50, actually, in 2019. And I found some interesting things out about Tony. I thought you might like me to share them with you.
Better had now, you've given it the big build-up.
Right, so since he's left football,
QPR.
he became... he actually did play in the UK. Brighton and Hove Albion played 2 games. He was on a loan spell at Watford, but after that he really made his name at the Kansas City Wizards, who no longer are called the Wizards, are they?
Sporting Kansas
That's
City,
right.
I believe. I believe they borrowed a Spanish... Like Real Salt Lake, there's another Spanish term that the MLS have borrowed.
Well, Meola, since he left soccer, has become a place kicker for the NFL, so with the New York Jets in 1994. Then he was in an off-Broadway show, Tony and Tina's Wedding, in 1995. He then set up his own mortgage firm. It gets weirder. He then was a drummer for a New Jersey cover band called Mushmouth. He still plays the band today. There's a soccer game for the SNES called Tony Meola's Sidekick Soccer. It was released all around the world, but with different names. It was also known as Super Copper, Ramos Rui, No Worldwide Soccer.
And FIFA 99.
He was a member of the University of Virginia baseball team in 2016. He'd have been 47.
He's a natural athlete.
And interestingly, he lost his place when he decided he fell out with the US national team, and yet still managed to get quite a large number of caps. He made his debut in 1988 for the USA, before he'd actually played a single game of professional football.
See, that's impressive.
It would actually be 2 more years until he played for a professional club. By that point, he was racking up the caps for the USA.
Were they short of goalkeepers?
Who knows?
Traditionally, they produce quite a lot of goalkeepers.
But this is what the problem was for him. So he was the number 1 US national team goalkeeper from 1990 up until the 94 World Cup. At that tournament, he became famous. He had the ponytail.
Yes.
He was a recognisable face around the country. But after the US lost to Brazil in the second round of the World Cup, he said to the then coach, Bora Milutinovic, that he was actually going to become a professional American footballer instead. Now, he was never forgiven for that and never called back to the US team under Milutinovic.
Bora Milutinovic.
That's it. And it wasn't recalled until 1999, but by then Casey Keller and Brad Fiedel had actually taken his place, and Meola never regained his first team position. How many caps, though, despite him saying he was going to quit the game in 1994, did he actually win for the United States?
How many caps did he have up until 94?
I can't reveal that information at this time.
Okay. Is that because you don't know?
It is.
Okay. He won. So you asked me how many caps he won in his career for the United States.
Yeah, still asking that question. Yeah.
He won 68 caps.
It's a round number.
He won 10 caps.
It's very similar to 10.
20.
100. Exactly
Really?
100 caps.
Well, that's where you want to stop.
He actually technically finished playing for the USA in 2006.
I mean, Brad Friedel and Casey Keller, that's a tough act to break into. They
they've
were
carried
two
on.
fine goalkeepers, and they went on, well, Brad Friedel in particular went on forever.
Tim Howard then, of course.
Also going on forever.
Yeah, that's the thing with goalkeepers. They just get better. Now, Adam, I hope you don't mind, but I thought with Wikipedia there being just brought up, it'd be a perfect opportunity for, once again, a return to...
Wikipedia Club.
It's kind of what we call a segue.
It is, yeah.
Quite
Seamless.
nice.
Yeah, it really was very strong.
As always with these, there is a pronunciation warning in effect.
Where are we going today?
Because I'm looking at the name of the club. I don't think I can say it properly.
You can't even pronounce the
I
club.
don't know. It's in my head. I thought I knew what it's called, but since seeing it written down, it's not. To answer your question, we are going to the beautiful Mediterranean island of Cyprus. Omonia Nicosia.
What colours do they wear?
Green and white. Founded in 1948. Omonia officially joined the Cyprus Football Association in 1953.
Could it be pronounced ammonia?
Well, I didn't want to say that because it has a negative connotation.
We were very wrong before with our team from Luxembourg.
Doodalanga.
Yeah, it's not pronounced Doodalanga at all.
Doodlange.
Yeah,
Which one did we say?
Doodalanga. No, you Doodalanga.
Oh, I
Remember?
see, yes,
We
but
did
that
all
was
of
funnier.
Yeah, it's funnier.
Ammonia? Do you want to go to ammonia?
Ammonia.
Ammonia?
I like ammonia.
Ammonia? Ammonia, as we will go with, is one of the most popular and successful football clubs in the country of Cyprus. Between 1970 and 1989, it won the national title 14 times, including a record run of 6 titles in a row, which is a record it shares with city rivals Apoel. It also won 4 national cups in succession between 1980 and 83. In total, the club has 20 national championships, 14 cups, and 16 Super Cups. And the Ammonia, possibly, brand is not just consigned to football. The sports club also fields sides in futsal, cycling, basketball, and volleyball.
Do you think futsal sounds like assistance you would get if you were having trouble walking?
Right.
You need to get a futsal in there, and you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Straighten that right out.
No.
You disagree?
I don't think that.
What's the name of their stadium?
They play at the GSP Stadium, which is the largest stadium in the country.
What's it called?
GSP Stadium.
That won't be hard to find.
That's GPS. You're thinking of
close enough. I mean, they're all the same letters.
I mean,
Just change the order around.
but that's inaccurate.
Well, change it to PSG, and I've got another guarantee for you.
Oh, okay. Should I do it again?
Don't worry about
okay.
it. Okay. You do the laundry.
They share the stadium with Apoel, and it also hosts the Cypriot national team. It's the largest in the country. Would you like to guess the capacity?
39.
39,000. 22,859. Omonia supporters are regarded as having a left-leaning socialist character.
Is that important?
It was on the page, so
Right,
I thought
you don't
I
need
would
to read it all.
I thought I would mention it because I thought it was a nice fact, a fact you don't often read about supporters. It's considered the club of the working class.
Is Applewell the club then of the elite?
The rich elite, the nouveau riche.
Like the River Plate then?
Yes.
By the way, congratulations to River Plate on beating Boca Juniors.
Commiserations to Boca Juniors for losing to River Plate.
Well done, Adam.
Omonia boasts a couple of proud records, which is linked to their support. In the 09-10 season, they sold 162,061 tickets, which is a Cypriot record. And in the 03-04 season, their average attendance was, do you want to have a guess?
11,000.
Oh, I say 11,003, which is also a Cypriot League record. The club is no stranger to European competition, but has never reached the group stage of either the Champions League or Europa League, although on their journey they have bumped into some pretty big names in European football. You know, little clubs like Juventus, Ajax, Bayern Munich, Steaua Bucharest, Red Star Belgrade, Anderlecht, and Manchester City. Currently coached by Yanis Anastasiou, at time of speaking, you know, coaches don't have a particularly long life in Cyprus, who has previously coached...
In charge of the clubs, we should just point out.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So there aren't snipers after them.
No, not generally. Who has previously coached in Greece, Holland and Belgium and had a very short spell on the coaching staff at Reading. He leads a squad composed of players, very multicultural squad this, from Cyprus, Spain, Mexico, France, Portugal, Uruguay, Brazil, Cape Verde Islands, England, Slovenia, Cameroon, Costa Rica, Greece, Croatia and Bulgaria.
You mentioned England there.
I did.
I think I know the English player.
Well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Cream of the current crop includes the former Real Madrid and Middlesbrough goalkeeper Thomas Mejias, the former Swansea, Wigan and Sunderland midfielder Jordi Gomez, and English striker
Matt Derbyshire,
formerly of Blackburn, Birmingham, Nottingham Forest and Olympiacos. His current record, at time of speaking, 75 appearances. Would you like to have a stab at the number of goals?
15.
48.
Wow, he's done really well.
For having a very good spell in the Mediterranean sun.
Prolific.
And that is possibly Omonia Nicosia.
We've got a guest, Adam.
Really?
Russell Boyce.
Oh.
One of the men behind Champ Manager 0102's Super League. This is every CM 0102 legend, right? In one league, they go head-to-head with some of the greatest players ever at the helm. Russell Boyce, you are involved quite heavily. You are a voice that people know. We could say the voice of Boyce. Welcome.
Hello, how are we all?
We're excellent.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad.
Brilliant. Pleasure to be here.
We want to get straight to knowing all about you. Before we talk about this Championship Manager Super League, because I think Adam and I pretty much agree that Championship Manager 0102 of the Championship Manager series was without a doubt the greatest. But before we dive into that, tell us who you support.
That's what Glasgow Celtic.
Does it get
More than
boring?
a club.
With all of that endless success, does that get boring?
You enjoy it more every year. I'm telling you, I love it. Honestly, I love it every year and every win over them or every succession. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger all the time, man. The thing is with Celtic is obviously there used to be a noisy neighbour, but they passed away. R.I.P.
Hang on.
Facts are facts, man. Do you know what I mean?
I have to say, because I'm quite good friends with Graham Murty, who was...
Clang, there is another name dropped for the listeners there.
I have no dog.
He'll be back soon.
He may
He'll be
well
back
be.
soon.
I have no dog in this fight because as I was growing up, St Johnstone were the team that I used to watch. But I'm well aware that we have a number of Rangers fans that listen to this podcast, and it's important that we make this distinction that Rangers are still the Rangers of old.
Yeah, no, definitely. If that's the case, then I don't know what their excuse is these days, but who knows?
The opinions of Russell Boyce. Now, Russell, let's talk about happier times. There was a period of time when it was a glorious age, 2001, 2002, when a wonderful game, Championship Manager, came out, and you were dreaming that Mark Kerr was in the Celtic starting 11 rather than Falkirk. But if you had to pick your favourite Celtic 11, you could go back to 2001 and pick some of the players from that era, or you could mix it up with now. What would you say?
Right, well, if I was doing a Celtic 11, I think it'd only be fair to do players that like I've seen. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to you could go back to Lisbon Lions, who first British team to win the European Cup.
We agree with that, with your eyes.
But I wouldn't know though. Do you know what I mean? It would be unfair. So I would say in goals would be Arthur Boric. Went on to Southampton and Bournemouth. I would say left back's Kieran Tierney. I think he could play for any team in England at this point in time. I'm not just saying that. Andy Robertson at Liverpool's flying. Kieran Tierney's probably better. And that's not just bias, like genuinely. Centre back Virgil van Dijk. Of course, it was Celtic who brought him to Britain as well. Alongside him would be Johan Mjällby, who played for Sweden, obviously numerous European Championships, World Cups and stuff like that. At right back would be Didier Agathe, who's probably more unknown, but Martin O'Neill signed him on a whim for like £35,000 from Wraith Rovers.
And he is actually one of the first players you've mentioned, I thought maybe Mjällby as well, that was on Championship Manager 0102 at 0102. Celtic.
That's right, mate, that's right. But we'll get there. There's more coming. Yeah, but Agathe was like 35 grand, then before you knew it, he was scoring goals against Ajax away from home like 6 months later. I mean, it was just madness. Martin O'Neill could turn anyone into a great player. It was weird. On the left-hand side, it's difficult because you would have to go Alan Thompson. Don't know if you remember him. Played for Bolton and Aston Villa.
Of course we remember Alan Thompson.
Who doesn't remember Alan Thompson?
Yeah. He didn't have much pace, but his left foot was unbelievable. He must have got 10, 15 assists a season. We were always championing him to get a game for England because remember that England generation had the famous time where they didn't have a left-sided midfielder, of course.
It's true, and of course Russell, Alan Stubbs as well was someone that a lot of Celtic fans felt should, when he was at his peak, play for England.
It was unfortunate with him though. He got testicular cancer right when he was like 28 years old, and that was him. I think he did like 2 years of like treatment and stuff. Obviously he's all good now, which is great, but he did 2 years of treatment and never really got back to the first team after that, but then went to the Premiership and smashed it with Everton for about 6 years.
Didn't Alan Thompson get an England cap based on his Celtic performances?
Alan Thompson got one. Yes, he did, you're
good
right.
Knowledge, Adam.
One England cap.
I thought you were going to go...
Russell,
I have to say, I thought you were going to go with, and you may have this guy in a different position, but Moravcik.
Lubo. So now we're getting to like the midfield, right? This is kind of controversial, so I'd play a diamond midfield, right? Neil Lennon would be holding the midfield. Neil Lennon's obviously in 0102 as well. He stood for a lot of amazing things at Celtic, and he played as well, like Champions League quarter-finals when he was 36, starting against AC Milan, playing amazing as well. Neil Lennon's holding, and then obviously in front of him is Lubomir Moravcik playing in that beautiful hole in between in behind the front two strikers. Lubomir Moravcik, two-footed. He was signed at 33 years old from France. Zinedine Zidane quoted him as his hero growing up. I have no idea how he wasn't somewhere huge in his career. He was unbelievable with both feet. Rosenborg, we played away from home in Champions League. I always remember it. I don't know if there's a video of it. He came on as a sub, right? We just got a free kick. And it was at the other side of the pitch. He just ran and hit the ball. He hit the free kick without, like, he hadn't broken his stride.
Brilliant.
He just, like, jogged on from the side. I mean, he tracked the ball with his arse against St Johnstone once as well, which definitely is on YouTube, I'm sure. Right-hand side of midfield. In fairness, I have to play James Forrest now. He's been there for 7-8 years now. He's a more current player. He just basically got Scotland to the Euros, that Nations League playoff thing. He's got us there anyway. He scored 5 goals in 2 matches for Scotland.
And maybe this is a name that's more of a mention that he deserves it. But Stilian Petrov?
Stilian Petrov, it was either him or Neil Lennon. I suppose technically Stilian Petrov could probably do a lot more of football than Neil Lennon, but Neil Lennon never had a bit of dirt in his shorts, you know what I mean? And that was the thing, he read the game amazing, you know? You never see him slide tackle ever. Petrov, though, a bit of an icon as well. He was there for a long time, did really well down south at Aston Villa.
We're happy with that. I think we can both...
I feel like I can guess at least one of the front
Exactly.
two.
I reckon we're all going to say...
We'll start with the other one, and it's Chris Sutton. 100% Chris Sutton. He was absolutely outstanding. One of my favourite players to ever play for Celtic. Hard as a coffin nail. Another wee story. I remember we were playing Valencia in the Champions League. He was against Roberto Ayala. I don't know if you remember him, but he was dirty, like hard Argentinian defender.
Russell, you have heard the podcast, right? You don't know if we remember players.
Well, of course, sorry, I'm letting you down. I'm playing down your intelligence, sorry.
Adam knows Roberto Ayala's middle leg measurement.
Well, I've got another game for you later as well. Any player from 0102, I can tell you what year they were born. We'll maybe do that another episode.
Oh, that's an impressive thing. That's a party trick.
It is a party trick, it is. But
Now I
Ayala,
see how you got all the ladies.
That's it, man. They just draw them in with that sort of Chapman patter. But anyway, the cross is about to go in. Before we've taken the free kick of the corner, whatever it was, Sutton's just kind of looked over his shoulder, seen that Ayala, and he's just stood on his toes, but like so hard. Like you could see Ayala kind of squeal. He's just like, do you know what, on you go, mate. Just run away from me. He doesn't want any of it, and he was known to be really sort of a hard man. But Sutton played centre-back for Celtic, centre midfield. I think his first season, Larsson scored 53 goals playing alongside him. He must have set up about 50 of them, just like little flick-ons. How he didn't play the 2002 World Cup with Mike Lowe and you went for Heskey is beyond me.
You're assuming that Adam and I, first of all, are England fans.
Well, no, I'm just sort of saying England in general.
I mean, we are.
We are. We are
both. Okay, so I think we know that it's obviously next to Simon Lynch, yeah?
Bobby Petter.
Yeah. No, Jeremy Aliadi, mate, that's who it's going to be. Henrik Larsson is probably the best player who's ever played football ever in the history of the world
I'm
ever.
not sure about that.
No, he probably is.
Oh, well, now you've convinced me.
Well, yeah,
okay.
I mean, now we've had that evidence. I'm on board.
Aye. Well, Ronaldinho said his hero was leaving Barcelona when he left Barcelona. If you've ever read Ferguson's books, Alex Ferguson quotes him twice in his most recent book, even though he worked with him for 3 months. He says it's the only player he's ever seen Ferdinand, Giggs, Scholes all stand up and applaud when he walks in the dressing room after a match, which was a 1-0 win against Middlesbrough. He didn't even score the goal, but Man U went down to 10 men. He just dropped Henrik Larsson into midfield.
Because, Russell, I remember Thierry Henry, after Arsenal lost to Barcelona in the Champions League final,
That's right.
mentioning Larsson, didn't he? Of all the players he saw out there, Larsson was the one who changed the game.
Yeah, the 2 assists. I mean, he was really... What I liked about Larsson was that kind of defiance as well. Like, of course he could have went to Juventus or whatever, his pomp, but he'd made the deal with Celtic was, look, you saved my career, I'll give you the best years I've got, you know what I mean? As long as you pay me a handsome wage, that'll stay. And a lot of players would have had their head turned, you know what I mean? He stayed very loyal.
We really loved hearing about that Celtic 11 of your lifetime. That was a good one. Now we need to know about the Championship Manager 0102 Super League.
It's grown arms and legs right now, so basically every Sunday night I host a broadcast on Twitter and Periscope. We've got, I think basically what happened was the Australian League on Championship Manager 012, we've hijacked in the editor, okay? So we then got 14 budding managers, the best out there, the best in the business. We did drafts for teams of the best players in the world at that time. We rebranded all the clubs. They've got all their own individual names now, their own team colours. And basically every Sunday night they go head-to-head in a really, really strange league setup that breaks after everyone's played each other twice into a top 6. It then goes into semi-finals, major semi-finals. Top 2 play each other. The loser then gets a second bite at it. It's all a bit mad at the end. And then, of course, you've got your eventual Super League winner. I originally joined as a manager at one of the clubs, and naturally I was the best manager. I won the league, did the best interviews, had the best patter. So the next step was, of course, just to take over the league myself and just do it on my own, do you know what I mean? Because it just, quite frankly, was going to get better and better if we did it that way. And thankfully we've got loads more viewers now. Loads of folk are watching it. It is good chat. It's an hour-long broadcast on a Sunday. The teams go head-to-head. The Twitter banter sort of goes on all week.
What's the Twitter handle for people that want to discover you?
At CM0102, S for Sierra, P for Papa. Not quite sure if that was meant to be an L.
I think it probably was.
Someone's thumbs just like mishit it. The previous chairman, Mr. Finnett. So I don't know if you know the page CM0102 Legends.
Yes, of course.
I think it's got like 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
So it was him who used to have the league.
He's very supportive of this podcast as well.
Yes, he is. And he passed the baton on to myself to run the league.
Have you ever done, after a fantastic victory, an imaginary press conference in your head in front of the mirror?
I've done a real press conference.
It tops the lot.
There you go.
You'll love this. So I put on Sky Sports on the telly, paused it when it was going for an advert, so it just had the Sky Sports emblazoned across my big TV, draped the pool table in a bed sheet, got hairbrushes, I got fluffy bits from like those Pomsky hats. I had them like in front of me, little wee bits from my games controller, so all looked like loads of microphones in front of me, and got the kids to ask me journalistic questions whilst I wore a suit. This is all true, man. It's all there.
So, Russell, have you also...
Oh, I like that.
Have you ever suited and booted for a Championship manager?
I was wearing the suit.
You were wearing
it? Of course I was.
Oh, brilliant.
Of course I was, man. Yeah,
Russell.
that was for the Super League final.
Russell, I have a question for you. Julius Agahauer. Date of birth.
82, mate.
I'm looking it up.
82.
We have a thumbs up from the judge.
It gets silly though. It gets silly. I think like there was one night my mate asked me Michael Dobson or something of Brentford, and it was like 81, and I was like smashed and just like blurted out 81, and it was like that was probably the most random one I ever got.
Michael Dobson, bit of a legend for Bees fans listening. I'm sure they remember him well. Russell Boyce, we're definitely going to get you back on. We might get listeners to submit a list of players from Championship Manager 0102, maybe some of their favourites to test you on. And we'll also probably talk more CM in the future, because it's a game that I've never stopped playing. I still play it pretty much every day. I also still...
Yeah.
Do you also play Football Manager 19 as well?
No, man, no. I've got my own day job to think about, you know what I mean? It takes a day to get through a day on that, man, you know what I mean? But
well, I've played both.
I don't know if have you ever tried the updated versions of CMO 102, but they're like the modern, not bad.
They are good, but if you support, like me, as Adam would say, a lower league team,
yes,
they're not always as accurate the further down you go, and that's one of the things that
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
In fairness, though, Championship Manager did have like thousands of scouts working for him. This is probably just some geezer bored in his house doing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they had thousands of scouts,
due.
and they still came up with Toe Madeira, and AC Milan still had 2 players called Kutuzov.
That's right.
You're never going to let that go, are you?
I'm never going to let it go.
Very strange.
The Toe Madeira episode are currently most popular downloaded. Maybe this will beat it. We will find out. Thank you very much.
You better believe it.
Russell, the voice of Boyce. It's been a real pleasure. All the very best,
nice
my friend.
one, man.
Thank you, Russell.
Thanks again.
How old were you when you knew that M&M meant every mother is nice except mine?
I still didn't know that.
So how old do you know?
That's a very personal question. I don't think it's any of your business.
Did you know that break a leg is said before an audition for a very specific reason? They say you're going to break a leg. It's because they hope you make the cast.
Cast like what you have in your leg.
If it's broken.
If it's broken.
Yes, otherwise
and for
it's
some, that's
bone,
the only cast they'll be in.
Sinew and muscle. Adam, quick quiz. Give me a player who's scored 100 or more Premier League goals, but who only ever played for one Premier League club. 7 to choose from. That is the wrong answer.
I didn't need that long.
Okay.
Matt Letizia.
Yes. Okay, so it's a player who's scored 100 or more Premier League goals, but only ever played for one Premier League
Actually,
club.
give me the clubs.
Arsenal?
Bergkamp.
No.
Did Bergkamp score less than 100 Premier League goals?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was more of a link-up man, wasn't he?
He scored 1 million goals.
That's it, it's 1 million. Yeah, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City.
Well, that's why I was going for Bergkamp.
Still not him.
Thierry Henry.
Correct, that's the Arsenal one. Okay, Liverpool, not a striker.
Steven Gerrard.
Correct. Then Manchester United, not a striker.
Paul Scholes.
Correct. Then Manchester United, not a striker.
Giggs.
Correct. Chelsea,
A striker.
yeah.
Drogba.
Didier Drogba. You've already got Matt Letizia, so the last one to complete the set. Manchester City striker, still playing now.
Manchester City striker, still playing now. Aguero.
Wow, well done, Adam. Now, Adam, we return, as we always do, to fake footballer facts. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
Eric Kalilicully, from a family of milliners. Eric's father, Kevin, claims he invented the ladies' safari sun hat. His mother, Lily Kalilicully, was the first woman to use the expression bang tidy. Eric played his entire professional career for Luton during the 1920s. He listed naval fluff collecting, not his own, competitive cat grooming, only of the deceased, and sexting amongst his off-season passions. Eric went into management following his playing career, but neglected to tell any of the clubs he was in charge of and thus wasn't paid for his services. He died at the age of 106 following a parkour accident involving a trumpet.
The mysterious player of mystery.
Right, full disclosure, I ain't got a clue. I feel like it might be someone really obscure, maybe signed during like the Ruud Gullit era for Newcastle. I'm going to need the clubs again.
A little fact that won't help you. But this player was actually born on the island of Réunion. His first professional club was Montpellier, then Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle United, Portsmouth, loan spell, Benfica, Levante, Derby County, Toronto FC, and Larissa.
I am going to need the position.
He was a winger, predominantly left-sided. In fact, entirely left-sided. Left winger.
Oh, and Zogbia.
It's not Charles Nzoglia.
Oh, first one I've got wrong!
It's not, I'm afraid. I'll give you some more clues.
Go on.
Signed by Bobby Robson. Played 129 times for Newcastle.
Olivier Bernard?
Oh, I think he did. They did sort of alternate. I think Bernard sometimes played at left back, and they were a combination on the wing. No.
Oh, no.
9 caps for France. Could take a mean free kick. Laurent Robert. That's your first slip on this game.
16 weeks. Not a bad effort, though.
No, it's a strong effort. Laurent Robert. He became a bit of a problem. Part of the Bobby Robson side that got finished third in the Premier League. I think
Great player.
Newcastle fans will certainly appreciate those times. All went a bit sour, and he was sort of farmed out to Portsmouth because they basically wanted rid, and Portsmouth couldn't afford to keep him, and also he was trouble at Portsmouth. So off he went to Benfica. Came back for a very short spell at Derby, only 4 games. In fact, after Newcastle, his career really petered out. He didn't play more than 17 matches for any of his clubs thereafter.
I don't picture him in a Benfica shirt, I have to say.
13 games. Scored 2 goals. Do you know how many goals he scored in his 129 Newcastle appearances?
29.
22.
All right, well, I'll get you back.
I don't know if it was that tricky.
Yeah, I think it's on par with where we normally go. Now, this is where listeners normally go. It's Adam's History Corner. Do you want the jingle, or would you once again like me to sing you in? I've been described as the songbird of our generation.
Sing away.
Okay, here we are. There once was a man who delivered a sermon. His name was Adam, and he wasn't German. There you go.
I'm making a bit of an assumption there.
You're not German, are you?
I might be.
Look at you.
What does that mean?
Look at me. We're clearly not German.
Oh, you're not.
No, well, you're not.
You're not.
You're not.
You're definitely
I'm
not.
less German than you.
Now, you may remember last show. Do we call it a show? Not really a show, is it?
I think the word podcast is 100% correct.
It does feel accurate.
It's because that's what it is.
We had a little chat about the devil and how he appeared to a particular gentleman in Devon. And you seem to enjoy that.
Yeah,
that little tale.
There was brains falling out.
There was. A brain did fall out.
That was mine at one point.
So, that's not nice. I want to tell you about a man called Stingy Jack who lived in Ireland. I believe the accurate description of this is several centuries ago, quote unquote. Jack was an arse. He was known throughout the whole land as a manipulator of the highest order, a deceiver. One of the great dregs of society. So infamous was he that one night the devil himself heard of Jack's reputation and, clearly liking the cut of his jib...
Have you been reading a book about history of the devil?
Well, it was just an interesting little folk story I read. And it's very pertinent to this time of year, because we're keeping it timeless.
Yeah, Halloween.
Exactly, actually. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So infamous was he that one night the devil himself heard of Jack's reputation and, clearly liking the cut of his jib, set out to meet him, to see if he lived up to that reputation. That very same night, Jack was wandering through the countryside in his usual condition of being off his tits, when he stumbled across a body on the cobblestones. Some instinct in Jack told him that this body was none other than the devil.
It's your go-to.
And he immediately sobered up. Realising that his past deeds had caught up with him, accepting his fate, Jack had one last request. He wanted to get pissed. To the local pub they went. Jack, with his new infernal buddy, set to downing some serious ale. Upon finally quenching his mighty thirst, Jack revealed that he had no money, asking the devil to settle his tab. If the devil wanted to know Jack's true powers of manipulation, he learned them here. Having been persuaded to transform himself into a silver coin to pay the bar bill, but instead of paying the tab, crafty Jack popped the coin into his pocket.
Oh.
And in his pocket also was a crucifix. The crucifix kept the devil from using his powers. He had become Jack's prisoner. And Jack released him on the understanding that he'd be allowed another 10 years of freedom. And the devil reluctantly agreed.
You'd go for more than 10.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't
Pluck
you?
for hire, Jack.
10 years passed, and the scene repeated itself. Jack came across a figure on the road one night and again accepted his fate. But he had one last request. He was hungry and wanted to eat an apple before they departed for his life in the underworld.
Plump hire.
The devil agreed and climbed a nearby apple tree. As he did so, Jack surrounded the base of the tree with crucifixes. He's never short of a crucifix.
He's
is our
got
Jack.
enough on him.
And again, the devil was trapped.
Yeah, I'll do it.
This time, he drove a harder bargain. The devil must agree to never take his soul into the underworld. The devil reluctantly agreed. Eventually, Jack's hard-drinking lifestyle did catch up with him, and he died. But as he prepared to pass the gates of St. Peter into heaven, he was stopped by the big man.
How old was he when he died? Like 12?
Possibly.
It's a different time.
12, 98, who knows?
Who knows?
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, probably.
And the big man, God, told him in no uncertain terms that someone who had lived his life was not getting into heaven. So for a restless soul denied entry to heaven, there was really only one other place to go. He headed south and arrived at the entrance to Hades, where he was met by the devil, who smugly confirmed that, unfortunately, he would be unable to accept Jack into his charge. A deal was, after all, a deal.
Say what you will about the devil. Keeps his word.
So Jack's soul was doomed to wander between the planes of good and evil, trapped forever in limbo. The devil did show some mercy. In order to light Jack's way, he gifted him a glowing ember housed within a hollowed-out turnip.
It's not going to help when he's doing all the games underneath the stick, is it?
It's good.
Limbo.
Yeah, no, I got it. You did the action.
I did that just for you.
Consequently, Stingy Jack became known by another name, Jack of the Lantern.
I really did jump the gun on this one.
And it is believed it is in his honour that once a year we carve out of various root vegetables jack-o'-lanterns. And I think you'll find that is very pertinent to this time of year.
Or that time of year.
Or that time of year.
But whatever time of year it is where you are, and if you celebrate Halloween, that was pertinent.
Do people celebrate Halloween, or is it just a thing that happens?
Just a thing that happens to me. You know, kids knocking at the door.
I mean, in fairness, it's not Halloween at time of speaking.
The kids will be banging on the door.
It's just something I read recently.
Bang, bang,
And
bang.
I thought, that's quite interesting. I
All
did not
through
know
the
that.
night. No matter how much they knock on the door, I don't let them out. Adam, it's time to wrap it up.
That's not your house, that's Stevie's annex. We'll see you at the beach.
That was really nice.